Hey friends, I'm back today with a video on a brand that I have never had a chance to try before, and I've got some thoughts. So the very first thing I want to say is that I absolutely love this creator that is collaborating with this brand, but as I've told you guys many times, I will never not give you my honest opinions, and I do have some honest opinions when it comes to this release. So the brand that we were talking about is Salem Cosmetics, and the collaboration is with, and I'm never going to say it right, so I'm just going to shorten it to Smink, who is Natalie on Instagram, and I absolutely love her. I will have her link down below. If you have not followed her or seen her work, she is one of the best makeup artists that I've ever seen. I don't know if she technically calls herself a makeup artist, but oh my goodness gracious, the things that she does with her eyes, with her lips, with everything she does is art, 100%. I cannot even imagine having that skill set. It is on a totally different level. So if you're really into artsy types of looks and a lot of creative color work, she is your girl. You should definitely check her out. So I'm going to show you the palette, and I've got to be careful with it because unfortunately it did come broken to me, and that was a widespread problem. This is what the palette looks like. The packaging matches. I think that the artwork is pretty cool. It's not necessarily my vibe, but I do think it's pretty cool. Now, I love the colors that are on it. I like the way they work together. This is a cruelty-free palette, and it does have the ingredients on the back side. When you open it up, this is the color story. I'm terrible at doing this. Okay. So you can tell I have repressed the shade up here. Now I did a dry repress and it worked just fine for me. As you can tell, there is a little bit of holographicness to this palette, which I love. I love like this holographic glitter that's going on here. But when I pressed this, I rubbed it right off of the palette. So it is gone from that little area. But other than that, I mean, it was fairly easy to fix. However, this is part of a larger problem, which I'm going to get into more in depth in a second, but I want to give you guys my thoughts on just everything going on here. This palette was $50. It did ship, it was a pre-order and it didn't take too long to ship. But I love the color story that's in here. It's very grungy, but it's got a little bit of things that you could use for spring or for fall or for winter or summer. I just feel like there's a lot of variation here and it's beautiful. I love it. The thing that could have made this perfect to me, and I did kind of work around it, so I'm sure it's probably okay, would have been one highlight shade. Just one highlighty shade. That's just a personal preference. But really, I have a bunch of highlights everywhere else. Do I really need one that badly? I don't. So when it comes to the formulas that are in here, I do really like them. If you like It's Belle Cosmetics or Gourmand Girls or Simply Posh or Sugar Drizzle, they're all the exact same formula to me. Now, I will say, I think each of the brands are made at the same place, but they might have their own little small tweaks on formula, and I've got thoughts on that. I'm backtracking here in a second. I think overall the value is definitely here. Having not tried this brand before, I really enjoyed the formula. I think that they did a really nice job. At least when it comes to using it, because this is the shade right here that came broken, and that's what I have on my lid today, and I find it to be performance-wise really, really good. Like, I really like it. I think it's beautiful. Here are my other thoughts. So this shade came broken for a lot of people, and this shade came broken for a lot of people. And I've already just mentioned that there are a lot of brands that have like these same colors, and I think that they're all made in the same lab. And I've never had a palette come broken from anything ever come broken from any of those other brands. Now, I think part of this situation has to do with formulation, because even though the color is the same as some other ones from other brands, the texture is different. However, as I said before, the payoff on the eyes, it's beautiful, like super gorgeous. My other thing that I'm going to say, and this is just some feedback, and I'm just going to be that person because I am that person. I've got some other feedbacks here. The packaging, while it is very cute, and it is, like, I think this is really cute, this is all my palette came packaged in, and I'm sorry, this is just insufficient. Like, I truly feel like if you are shipping a palette, you need to be sending it in a bubble mailer at the very least, and this is just a regular, I guess they call it like a poly mailer, and one piece of bubble wrap. And I'm sorry, I just, even with the formulation being slightly drier, I think if it had been packaged more securely, it probably would not have come broken. That is just my personal opinion. I will say I feel that their shipping prices were really good, but the other thing I will say is that they do offer an insurance on the site. I did not notice it at all when I was making my order, but it is there now. However, it is not in the place that you would normally find it. If I can, I'm going to include like a screen grab of what it looks like. You can add it before you place your order. But a lot of brands automatically include that, and I feel like that's the direction they should go with this. And then a lot of brands also include it just on the checkout page so that you have the option to add that protection. And had I had that choice, I would have definitely added it. The brand put out a statement about the palette and about the shades and people receiving damaged items. And I just feel that it was inadequate. I believe that instead of saying, well, hey, I can help you repress it yourself, or I can give you store credit, I don't feel that was the right response for the brand to give. I think that they should have said, hey, I'll send you a replacement for the shade. And if they couldn't say that, then let me just refund you for the shadow itself and take some kind of average of what the price of it would have been within the palette. It probably would not have been a lot, but it doesn't matter. It's just the principle, I think, in my mind, because a lot of people that purchase probably this palette purchase because of the collaboration. I could be wrong, but everybody that I've talked to has really been interested in the collab because of Natalie. I have liked some stuff that Salem has come out with before. I just never got a chance to pick it up because of things that were going on. They've done some really cool themes that I was really interested in. But if you're not into that stuff, store credit in the future is maybe not the best solution in my personal opinion. The other thing that I thought was unnecessary, and I'm just going to put the brand's response up here so you guys can see it. I'm going to be a little bit brutally honest here. Is they were talking about their disabilities, and I have five autoimmune diseases, and I don't take disabilities lightly at all. I don't think that, especially if you don't have any chronic illnesses or things like that going on, you may not understand how difficult it is to do everyday things. But I don't feel like that statement had any place in this explanation as to what was going on with the palette. Oh, this is going to sound really harsh. I don't feel like anything to do with her health has anything to do with the manufacturer, and it shouldn't have been mentioned in it. That's just my personal opinion. I am sorry. I feel awful because I absolutely love Natalie. At the end of the day, she can only come up with like maybe a palette cover and colors that she likes and try the formula. And that's the most that her interaction goes, in my opinion. So just as a summary, these are the things that I would offer as feedback to the brand. And I don't mean anything negatively against them. These are just the ways that I would improve things moving forward so that others can have a good experience. I would say first and foremost, that insurance needs to either be automatically applied to the order or offered at the checkout screen rather than hidden in a different area. I feel that less people will take advantage of it where it is right now. The next thing I would say is that this packaging is just not enough. I'm sorry, I ship stuff constantly, and if I took one piece of bubble wrap and this poly mailer to send it, I would expect it to come broken. The other thing I'm gonna say is even if there was a formulation issue at the manufacturer level, that's still not the customer's responsibility. And to just say, hey, dry repress it, for a lot of people, they don't know how to do that, or, reach out and I'll help you. I still feel that's not the right response or even store credit, because what if they're not interested in anything else that the brand has? Not to say that they won't, but what if they're not? I feel that they should have offered a replacement option, or even just, sorry, I'm laughing because I can't talk, or even just their money back for whatever items in the palette were broken and an average of that pricing, because you've got to be fair. You can't say, oh, one shadow's worth $10 in a palette that costs $50. That just doesn't make any sense. And then the very last thing I would say is that talking about the health has nothing to do with the manufacturer, and it didn't have any place in their statement. And I'm sorry. I know that this seems harsh, but I am 100% the person that's going to no bullshit others. And I love Natalie. I think that Salem has a nice formula, and I do like the palette, but these are my real opinions. And if you want somebody that's going to sugarcoat things to you about their opinions, it's just not me. I don't care if a brand sends me something. I don't care if somebody is my friend. I will be honest with you guys. I just feel like it's the only right thing to do. So with that being said, I just wanted you guys to know overall, I do think that this palette is great. I think that the quality is there. I think that there's a lot of promise with this brand if they can just make a few changes. And I love Natalie. Like I said, if you guys have not checked her out, make sure you do. I think she is just incredible, and she's such a sweet-souled person. And I hope she doesn't hate me after this, but it is still, like I said, it is my opinion. But I'm going to share some swatches with you guys. I'm going to do this eye look. I'm going to do another eye look, and I'll be back at the very end with my final thoughts. Okay, my skin looks really stupid. Okay, my skin and my lipstick I'm not feeling right now. So we're just gonna go ahead and ignore that. I'm looking extremely bronzed. And my lips are very pale, so just disregard that right now. Okay, so here's what I did today. I took the shade Mushroom and I put it into my crease and I blew it out. I did the same on my lower lash line. I took a little bit of Amethyst and I put it in my outer V, but I did go back and do it again. The next thing I did was I took the shade Enchanting and I put it all over my lid. I did not use a base. I did the same on my lower lash line. I then took a little bit of the shade Twilight and I put it into my outer V, and then I went back over it with Amethyst again. And then after that, I took the shade Wings and I put it in my inner corner, and that is all I did today, minus my terrible base makeup. Okay, the very first thing I did was I took the shade Moth and Toadstool and I mixed those two together, that's these two, and I put it into my crease and I blew it out and I put it into my lower lash line. Then I took the shade Dusk and I put it all over my lid. Now, this was the shade that came damaged to me. I did dry repress it, as you guys can tell, and I used absolutely no base and I just put it onto my eye, so I still feel like it looks just as impactful as it would have had it just come completely normal. So I don't feel that there's any performance differences while using this, especially comparing it to other palettes that have the exact same shade from the same lab. I do feel that the formula is a little bit drier than some of the others. However, as you can see, I mean, for me, the performance is really good. And then the last thing I did was I took the shade Firefly and I put it just into the inner, oh no, I lied. And then I took the shade Firefly and I put it into my inner eye. And then I followed up with the shade Heartwood and I put it into my outer V and I kind of worked it towards the center of my crease on both the top and the bottom. All right, you guys, I'm back and I want to give you my final thoughts. I'm going to try to get through this very, very quickly because I kind of went very hard in the beginning just to go over everything. So the palette that I'm talking about today is the collaboration between Smink and Salem Cosmetics. This is, oh my gosh, I don't even think I said it in the first half. This is the Forest Heart palette. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I think that the packaging is beautiful, like the colors that are going on here. This is not exactly my vibe, but I like it. I think it is aesthetically pleasing. This palette was $50. It is cruelty-free. I do think that they have done a nice job with the packaging. When you open it up, this is the color story. I feel like these colors are just beautiful, and I think that you're gonna be able to use them the whole year. You've got some cooler tones, you've got some warm tones, you've got some grunge tones, you've got things you can use in summer, spring, fall, winter. I mean, I just feel like this is a really beautiful palette. And yes, it is bold. Yes, it is colorful, but I feel like anybody that picks this up is going to be able to just pair a few different shades together and come up with a beautiful look. Now, I did go kind of neutral today, which is surprising. I'm kind of usually on my videos, I'm more like, here's everything, but the kitchen sink. But I really wanted to test this shade out right here so I could give you guys my feedback, because I've seen a lot of these come broken to people, and that's going to dive right into my other feedback. So let's just talk about it. So this palette right here came in this packaging. The shipping prices were really good actually, but I feel that one piece of bubble wrap and this thin paper, plastic mailer is not enough to safely get a palette to your house. That's just my opinion. Sorry, I ignored the second fragile sticker. I put it over my address so you guys couldn't see it. Ooh. I think that the mailer is really cute. I just wish it had bubble wrap on it, and I do hope that they take this as positive feedback for the future, because I think that if they just increase what they had going on, that they probably would have less broken shadows. Now, I do still think that the formula on a few of those shades might be a little bit different than you might experience, even though the colors might be the same from like It's Belle or Simply Posh or Sugar Drizzle, all of those types of brands. So that's something I think that maybe that might be worth talking to their manufacturer about. And it's definitely not something that should trickle down to the customer. I'm going to be real honest. I feel that the response about the palette and what to do about broken shadows was not a good response. That's just my personal opinion. I can say that, yes, mine came broken, but I'm not even going to message them about it. It's not the end of the world. I did dry repress mine. But if I were somebody else, maybe that didn't have experience pressing shadows and other things like that, I would not want the response to be, well, you can message in and I'll tell you how to dry repress, or I'll give you a store credit, because I may not want to purchase more in the future. Now, I don't feel that way. I definitely would if I'm interested in something, at least based on my experience with the quality. But the thing that was really hard about this is that I really don't feel that they had any, and I'm one of these people, I have chronic illnesses. I have 5 autoimmune diseases, and that's just some of my autoimmune stuff. So I have a lot of empathy for people that are going through it. They have, everyday things that are easy for everyone else are not easy for people that experience this type of stuff. I have a lot of heart for that. However, I don't feel like that statement had anything to do with those broken shadows or the manufacturer or what the brand should be able to do for others regarding these problems. And I'm sorry, that sounds harsh. I really don't mean for it to be. It is honest feedback. I hope that they will take it that way. The last thing I would say as like improvement feedback would be to put that insurance either automatically on every single order or put it onto the checkout page so people are actually seeing that option. Because if I had had the choice, I would have just added it, but I didn't even know it was on the website until somebody was like, here, it's over in this section, and I would never have thought to look for it there. With that insurance, there's no direction as how to use it and what amount will work for your order. I know that this seems harsh, but I will say overall that I'm really happy with the palette. I think that the quality is really good. The mattes were easy to use. The metallics were really beautiful. The multi-chromes were gorgeous. I just think that it's something that all the things that I've just mentioned need to be revisited. With that being said, they collaborated with Natalie, who is Smink on Instagram, and I absolutely love her. I hope she still talks to me after this review is posted. But at the end of the day, I've got to be honest with people, and I always will be. It doesn't matter if somebody sends me something, if somebody is my friend. I very much disagree with trying to make a brand happy and not be honest about feedback. So in any case, I hope that this video was helpful to you guys. If it was, let me know. I would love to hear you guys' thoughts on it. Maybe let me know if you've picked this up, if you had anything come broken, what your thoughts were on the brand's response. I'm really curious to hear it. Maybe down below, let's put some love for Smink, because she did a great job with this color story, and she is just one of the most creative people I've ever met. And I think all good things about her. So Natalie, I'm sorry if this just seems like, I love you to pieces. I really do. This is my feedback for Salem. And I think that if they take these into consideration and make steps, that they're going to be just amazing. So with all of that being said, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.